We're going to start with our flour mixture here. I have 2 cups of freshly milled brown rice flour. I've got 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. Make sure it's baking soda and not baking powder. There's a big difference. I've got 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of almond meal. And I like to use the ones without the skins. And I have about 1/4 cup of sugar in the raw that has been put through the blender to make it nice and smooth and powdery. Now sugar is optional, but everybody likes it better when it has sugar in it. And if you like things really sweet, you can add more than 1/4 cup. That's totally up to you. Okay, we'll mix all those dry ingredients together. And we're going to put the butter in. I've got 1/3 of a stick of butter here. And I'm just going to cut that in to the flour. I want to make sure that the butter is cut small. That's for the texture purposes. Okay, next we got the yogurt. Now it's somewhere between 1.5 cups to 2 cups, and you just kind of gotta judge it based off of the flour mixture, whether it's moist or not. Let's get a little bit more in here. Alright, I have about 1/2 cup to 1 cup of milk in between there, and about 1/2 teaspoon of white vinegar. Now I'm going to put the vinegar in the milk and let it sit there. Give it a little stir, and just let it sit there while I work together the rest of the dough. We want the dough to be moist, so the milk's just a little aid to that, because sometimes the yogurt is just a little thick, and if you don't have the vinegar and the milk in the house, it's not a big deal. You can just work with the yogurt. It's just easier to work with it if you put the milk in as well. Alright, now we are going to put in about 1 to 2 cups of blueberries, whatever you have. This is about 1.5 cups right here, fresh blueberries. Okay? And don't worry about smashing them a little bit, because that's kind of like what needs to happen anyway. And I'm going to put in some of the milk to help stir it. Make the batter a little bit moist. The idea is to not have any dry flour in the bottom, but you will notice a thicker batter than what you're used to seeing with regular flour, because gluten-free flour absorbs the liquid so fast. Okay. Now we are going to fill our tins, and I have some unbleached parchment paper type liners, muffin cup liners, and I am going to fill each one of these about 3/4 of the way full. You want to fill them good and full, because then they'll get nice and tall. They're not going to double in size like a traditional blueberry muffin with wheat flour, because this is not wheat flour. It does not work the same. This is brown rice flour, and yes, it will rise, but it's not going to rise as big as it would if it was wheat. So I like to fill them pretty full so that they'll have a nice pretty crown on the top when we're all finished. And anywhere from 3/4 of the way full to as full as you want. And try to distribute it evenly so that they're all about the same size. And if you see any blueberries bunching up in the batter, try to even that out to where they're not all in one place. And you may have noticed that I put the blueberries in almost last. And the reason for that is you don't want them to break up so much that you have, you know, little shards of blueberry here and there. You want to be able to have bites of blueberry. You want to be able to enjoy the blueberries when you're eating it. And that's the whole purpose of using fresh ones as well. You can use frozen ones, but they're going to break apart a lot easier. Try to get this a little bit even here. All right, and I'm going to put them into a 400-degree oven that I have already preheated. And here they are, fresh out of the oven. See how beautiful they turned out? We're going to let them sit here for 5 minutes before we plate them. We just want to put them all, as many as we can fit, on a plate just like this. Make it look like a pretty little flower. And you notice how they didn't rise as much as wheat flour would have risen. But that's because it's not wheat flour, it's gluten-free, and it is 100% corn-free as well, and very, very scrumptious. They will just pop right off the plate. You just watch. People will just grab them so quickly. Enjoy.